We're nearing the end of the year, so it's about time that we take a second just to reflect upon the shoes that we found over 2024. And I'm going to introduce probably my rotation that I would actually go for at the end of this year. So I'm going to introduce Footshaped and Barefoot shoes as normal, but also on the road side and the trail side as well. I've got 4 shoes to show you. So let's jump into it. So technically, this first one is not from 2024. It was actually 2023, but it's the Zero Shoes Speed Force 2. And there's one reason why I love this. And basically, it is super duper flexible, super duper minimal, and at the same time, really lightweight. So if you're looking to do your barefoot training and you still want something underfoot, then this is probably the way to go. The other options are obviously sandals or completely barefoot, but I'm not going to go there for now. Let's stick with shoes. So, like I said, the reason why I love it, ultimate flexibility. You can see it just squishes up into absolutely nothing. Underfoot, you've got 4.5 millimeters of outsole rubber here. And if you add the insole in there, you've got another about 3 to 4 mil as well. So it stays really, really low in stack height. And then lastly, a US 9 comes in at about 180, 190 grams. So it's very, very lightweight at the same time. So again, you want to do your barefoot training, this is probably the one for you. The only caveat I have here is basically this toe box, and a lot of people do talk about this, about Zero shoes in general, especially around this big toe for me. So I had to go a little bit longer. So I had to do a 9.5 compared to my normal US 9. You could even make a case to say you should go another size up too. But just keep that in mind. It's not the widest around this big toe area. So if that's something you need, maybe look elsewhere. Just a quick one. If you don't know me, I'm Nick from Barefoot Run Review, and I like Footshaped shoes, barefoot shoes, and anything that fits your foot properly and helps your foot do exactly what it should be doing. If you could help me out quickly by giving me an early Christmas present, go down, hit subscribe, and I will promise to keep giving you reviews in the new year coming. So sticking with the road shoes, I'm going to go into my cushioned option, but still foot shaped. It's the Ultra Escalante Racer 2. So this came out this year as an update to the original Escalante Racer. And I know some of you were a little disappointed because it lost a little bit of flexibility. But when you're pairing it with a shoe like the Speed Force that I just showed, it actually makes a really good rotation. So the reason why I actually like this shoe is because it's a little bit stiffer underfoot and it has a little bit of cushion. It's great for the race day option when I want to go a bit faster, or maybe my feet are just a little bit tired and I want to go a bit further. So it's great for that. Obviously, still got a nice wide toe box through here. I'd say a caveat being that the midfoot is a little bit more narrow than you'd see from some other like barefoot options, but I can still make it work because of this nice flexible upper. So for me, the Escalante Racer 2 definitely makes it into my rotation. Okay, onto the trail shoes now. And first of all, my barefoot option, well, it's the Freet Feldum. So I would have normally said the Zero Shoes Mesa Trail here, but actually, after trying Freet for the first time this year, I've actually been super impressed. And the unique aspects of this shoe is the reason why it's made it into this rotation. So let's have a look at these. The first thing is the grip. So these 4mm lugs under here do a really, really good job, which is not something you can usually say for a lot of barefoot shoes. They don't usually do well in the mud. This does. Underfoot, you still get about a 10mm base, and then also you can add an insole in there as well. So that adds a decent amount of protection underfoot, which is kind of nice if you are doing some more rocky trails. At the same time, it doesn't mean that it loses flexibility. You can see that this bends in every which direction again. And this is actually one thing to do with this lug pattern. It actually allows for bending in between these lugs quite nicely. The quick caveat that I should say is this is a wide and a deep shoe as well. So it's deeper in the midfoot, especially. So you can see that I have to cinch this in quite a bit. I often put in a thicker insole in there. I use an Ultra one, and that's just because it fills out the space within the shoe a little more. So it just helps with the fit. A great part of this is basically this toe box. You can see it's really nicely squared off here on this big toe side, which I really do appreciate. At the same time, also has quite a nice bit of space around this little toe area here too. It's super good for those who need the wider barefoot options or even the deeper options too. On to the last one then. So this is another trail option, and again, it's from Ultra this time. So it's the Ultra King MT2. So you may have seen my review about this recently, and well, to be honest, I think it actually brings a lot to the trail lineup from the Ultra side. Obviously, this is a little bit more cushioned than what we've been looking at before. So this is my cushioned trail runner, I would say. It's about 19mm in stack height, so it's still low to the ground, but at the same time, with that stack height, you get a bit more protection underfoot, especially because this has got a rock plate running through it at the same time. Any of those sharp rocks in the high mountains that you'll find are not going to cause any issues at all. So the time where I'd use this is if I'm going to be going on the hard mountainous trails, or maybe even in a race, a longer race, where protection is key. And also, you want to just preserve your feet a little more later into the race. So as I noted in the review, there's a couple of things you've got to watch out for. So this heel is quite wide and open. It can be a bit sloppy sometimes. So definitely get that cinched down quite nicely. Also, around this big toe area, I found it rounded a little bit, or it's actually, if anything, it's the angle of this toe cap here. It's quite aggressive, which I found actually touched the top of my toe, especially on this big toe side. So you definitely need to go up half size in this. So I went from a 9 to a 9.5 in this. I think some people would actually benefit from a full size larger as well. And then the other cool little feature, the little power strap there, great when you're ascending or descending. Basically, you can adjust that fit on the fly, which is actually a really interesting, cool feature that I've enjoyed. So that's it. 2 barefoot options, 2 cushioned options, all really good for the feet, all wide enough and help with a nice toe splay at the same time. So all foot health friendly. Just always bear in mind as well, these selections come down to your feet specifically. So if you have that wider foot, then you might not find some of these options work for you, and that's okay. If you have that narrower or shallower foot, they might not work either. You might throw in some Vivos in there instead just to get that fit tuned in. And that's the most important thing when we're looking at shoes. Fit is paramount. So you want to get the shoe that fits your foot first, and then try and find the function behind that, and then add in some other shoes into your rotation just so you can get that variance in there to help train your feet and your whole body in the end. So that's what we've got for 2024. Hopefully we can see some really interesting things in 2025, and we'll be back.